Alright, I'm gonna try and make a quick, like, short video of, like, how the starship mechanics work in this game, because it's, like, really cool. Hopefully I can be concise, but we'll see. I'm in the third-person view right now, just so you don't see the HUD in the pilot cockpit from the first person, because I want to show the area. I can't point to it with the clicker because it won't leave the circle here, but in the bottom left you see there's a bunch of ticks down in the bottom. It says 32 out of 32 in the very bottom left there. If I hold Alt and hit A or D, I can move back and forth between the various ship systems here and give them power, basically. So if I want to power my weapons up, I have to actually manually assign power. If I want to be faster, I have to give power to the engines. If I want to have protection, I got to give power to the shields, which you'll see the shields are recharging in the bottom right there. So generally I will have my engines at half and my shields at max if I'm going to be taking some serious fighting. And then the GRV is the gravity drive, which is like your hyperspace. So unless you're planning on running away from combat, it doesn't even need to be powered, and it really only gets powered when you're actually leaving a star system. So when you're traveling between star systems, you use the grav drive. But anyway, I noticed something today when I was fucking around. If you notice, now I'm in the first person here, and there's three green screens along the dash. We're looking at the one on the right. So if you look at the one on the right, there's like a circle there, and it's like an aviation gauge almost. But now, if you can look at that, and also look at the position of my cursor here, and you can see how the display actually changes in real time to show what's happening with the flight stick, which is what the cursor is supposed to be mimicking. That's supposed to be like the location where your flight stick is when you're moving from side to side like that. And you can see there's two bars, one on the left that corresponds to the up and down, or to the pitch of your craft, which is your up and your down, and relative to the length of your axis. And then on the right of the wheel, if you go from left to right, it changes up and down to show the like the maximum amount, which is just cool that it shows that in real time on the actual HUD of the ship itself, not just the UI that the game gives you to represent that information. It's really neat. I think that if I had higher settings on and a better computer, that some of the other screens would probably show stuff that was relevant, but it's hard to read what's there. I don't see anything that changes as I take power out of systems other than the stuff that's in my actual HUD, but it might be that with better graphics I'd be able to see it. But anyway, like when you take your power out, which generally when I'm flying I don't depower everything for the most part when I'm flying around. My lasers are at max, my ballistics are at max, and my missiles are at max. So my lasers are my anti-shield weapon. I have three laser weapons on the hull that you can kind of see as they're firing. And they're pulse lasers. They fire pretty quick, and they just decimate shields. And then once the shields are down, I use the ballistic weapon, which is an autocannon, to just fuck up their hull. And as soon as I get target lock, because you can shoot these without a target lock on a ship, as soon as you get target lock, then you just start firing missiles at them, and the missiles just absolutely demolish them. I think I should be able to destroy this asteroid, actually, as an example. Just like using all the systems together. Hard to tell. Yeah, there we go. You can actually mine asteroids by just blowing them up, and then you can get real close to them. And actually, I just realized I don't have my engines at max, so I'm gonna go super slow. I just boosted it, and my speed was almost nothing. But you can see the speed is reflected down in this corner here. It's a throttle, so you don't actually have to hold accelerate the whole time. You just have to set the speed that you want, generally. And for the most part, it'll stay up there, but it's just kind of hard. It's kind of ingrained in me to just hold W down at all times. And then in the top three here, you got your laser, your mouse 1, your missile, which is G, and your standard ballistic, which is 2. Now, the weapon systems in this game are entirely customizable. Like, you don't have to have a laser, an autocannon, and a missile. You could have 3 lasers or 3 missiles, or you could just have 1 weapon system and only focus all your power into that. Like, if you have a lower class reactor that doesn't put as much power out. I kind of cheated a little bit to get my reactor to output as much power as it could, just because I don't want to... I'm lazy, and I don't want to wait until the end game to feel all the really cool shit. And then in the bottom right here is the boost, so that if I'm flying in a straight line and I want to get somewhere quicker. I just realized actually it would be a better demonstration to go towards this cargo container instead of flying in a straight line, because you like it says I'm 5,000 meters away from it, right? So I use the boost so you can get up to that quicker. Boost can also be used in combat to kind of separate you from enemy squadrons, because generally when you get jumped by like 3 to 5 other ships, like pirate ships generally. And they're usually smaller and weaker, but they're much faster and more maneuverable, so you gotta kind of be prepared for that when you get jumped. And so sometimes you have to get away from them, and sometimes, like, only a couple times, and I'm not 100% sure if it's really effective. I have tried to use the rocks, the asteroids, as cover, like try to get behind them, but the distance is hard to gauge on them, and you can't lock onto them to see what their distance is, which is kind of annoying. I wish you could do that, but... I don't know, it works really well. It works, I would say, better than No Man's Sky. My favorite part is the power system, the way that you distribute power. And, like, when you're in space and when you're in combat, the enemies will be shooting at you, and your shield will take damage, and your hull will take damage, but your weapon systems will take damage as well. And so your engines, your shields, and your grav drive, they'll be shooting at those components trying to disable them, because in order to board someone in this game, you have to disable their engine so they can't move away from you while you're connecting with the docking tube, because in reality, if they were to turn their engines on while you're trying to match velocities with them, if your docking tube was attached to them and they accelerated away, it would just tear it right off, and that's a real concern in spaceflight, in movies and TV, and in reality as well. So I think that's really a cool feature. But yeah, it does operate very similar to No Man's Sky, like with the circle in the center, but that's just a way to show the flight stick without actually showing the flight stick. It's a better UI that way. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to get into dogfights. I'm gonna try and do a little bit more as far as the way of like videos to like show the different dogfights, and like when you get jumped by pirates, and just like how exhilarating it is to like fight them and defeat them. It's pretty great. I mostly just like fly around the stars and just hope for the random encounters when there's like 2 friendly ships being attacked by pirates, and you just swoop in and just slaughter the pirates, and then people are just like, oh my god, thank you so much, you saved my life, and they're like, how can we repay you? I'm just like, no, I don't need any payment. And they're like, what, really? Nah, I'm good. Killing the pirates is what I'm here for. So yeah, Starfield is really great. This is just one small system in such a big game full of like different little things that I'm kind of hoping to cover at some point as well. I would like to notice as well, or to note rather, is that I'm not doing any editing on these videos. I'm recording them at 1080p at 60 FPS, and at the moment I don't have a video editing software that can take that 1080p 60 FPS, edit it, and then put it out at 1080p 60 FPS. The software I use, usually Lightworks, it inputs at a 1080, but it only outputs at 720 unless you pay for the like $800 annual fee or whatever the hell it is, which is a bit outside my price range. So this is just raw footage. I'm just recording myself with the NVIDIA GeForce Experience, and I've got a microphone plugged in as well, and it just happens to pick that up, thankfully. So there's not going to be any editing or cuts. This is a oneer, if you want to call it that. So that's pretty much it, though. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope whoever ends up watching this enjoys it, because I'm originally just recording it for friends, but it is going to go up on YouTube as a public video as well. So who knows? Maybe other people will find it and get some value out of it. I hope so. Thank you for watching.